The call to order at 5:30 p.m. today, May 2nd, 2022. And first order of business, Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, I'm gonna get up.
And Mercy, you want to lead us tonight?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So the first order of business here is the cable franchise agreement with Plymouth. And the folks at Plymouth are getting ready to redo their franchise agreement. What's the first thing on here? Oh, approval of minutes. Sorry,
Yeah.
we don't have any minutes tonight. They're not available.
Okay.
I apologize for that. They'll be at the next meeting. And we will,
Minutes and seconds to
Pop them
follow.
what was that?
Minutes and seconds to follow.
Right. So the first order of business will be the cable agreement.
Oh, there you go.
Fred, you want to tell us about this?
Ann Bear sent me an email not too long ago, and I was concerned that their cable contract is going to run out, and we apparently are a party to it, although I don't have a copy of it. The copy I have for a cable contract expired last May, a year ago May. I don't understand that. There's 2 or 3 cable contracts running around. The question is, does the board want to do anything with that? It will cost you attorney's fees because you have to hire an attorney to get through this process. It won't change anything because you can't regulate rates, you can't regulate tiers, you can't regulate virtually anything the cable company does because it's protected under federal law. So it will basically change the status quo. They are required by state law to have a cable franchise agreement. It has expired at this point, at least the one we have in our possession has expired. So they don't technically have it, but there's no penalty.
And there's no enforcement.
There's 2 things. There's no penalty under the state law for not having the contract. There's no enforcement under the state law because the legislature did not put into the law an enforcement agency or enforcement criteria. So basically, if you break the law, you break the law. There's nothing you can do about it. And under federal statute, we can't regulate what they charge or when they charge it. They could change the rate every other day if they wish to. We can't regulate how they structure their tiers. It's been a real source of anger to some people that they will have a number of tiers in their system, and they'll have a number of good programs in Tier 2, for instance, which is just above the basic unit rate. And then all of a sudden, they'll change those to Tier 4, and your rate goes up by $50. And you have to pay that if you want to have those programs again. So that's been a constant back and forth with these different cable companies. But we don't control that. The Federal Communications Commission does, and they refuse to make changes to that law. So there's not much we can do about any of those things that have people angry, including the increased rates. I can tell you when I was in Hampton, I was receiving a rate increase every other month because they wanted more money. I don't know what they wanted the more money for. They're making billions of dollars a year in profits off the taxpayers. But that's what was going on.
The question is they run their lines on our poles.
They do?
Do we charge them for it?
No, we don't, because they're not regulated.
But
Although I think we should. I'm in the process of looking at the cable right-of-way regulations the town has. We have a lot of joint-owned poles in town, which means we share the expense of replacing them, but we don't get any revenue for them. The legislature 2 years ago re-regulated telephone poles so that once they become 30 years old, they're no longer taxable. most poles in this state are between 75 and 100 years old. It's just the nature of the beast and the nature of how they were prepared and put in the ground. We have, I think, 30 poles in our collection that need to be replaced, and we're replacing them gradually as we go along. But we're different. We're municipal. So we're not billing the other companies for the setting of the poles. Our intention is to, in fact, come up with a rate and charge them for using them, because I think the taxpayers deserve that. They're paying 100% of the cost of the poles.
And they don't share any of the franchise fees with us.
Oh, no, they smile very nicely and say, thank you very much,
Yeah.
and walk away. But no, they don't share any of the franchise fees with us at all.
When I sat on the cable committee in Derry, the town got a piece of that. That was part of the contract.
Towns have the ability to levy a charge, I'll call it, for lack of a better word, of 5% of the total cable license fee, or what the licensed fee company collects. The town can get 5% of that at the end of the year. That's a sizable amount of money. You don't charge that here because you have such a large population that's below the poverty line, the federal poverty line. So you decided not to charge any of those fees, so the town receives nothing from the cable companies, except increased rates. And those come along quite frequently.
And we were told that the cable company has no interest in ever renewing contracts.
I was told that
Franchise.
point blank by an attorney that works in this business of renewing these contracts. It appears that what they're going to do is they're going to go to satellite beaming. And they won't have any wire. Fine, as far as I'm concerned, they can take it all down if that's the case. I don't know what they're going to do with the satellite systems because they don't have licenses for them, but they'll get them.
Well, there are two satellite companies now, DirecTV and the other one is
Dish.
Dish.
Yeah.
They're
different.
But I have a satellite dish on top of my house.
Yeah.
And every time it rains or snows, you don't get any service.
You got to wax it.
It's not a really good medium.
No, it's not.
You can't get to the satellites through the cloud cover.
Yeah.
So it would be a terrible service. And that's what the cable company's been telling us for years. You got to get cable. It's better than Dish because, of all these problems.
Yeah.
I actually think that they will go wireless.
I suspect that's going to be the case because they don't want to have the wire, but they're obligated to take it down if they're not going to use it. The one problem that we have is there is nothing in the cable license. If they don't take it down, then it pays us for taking it down. It'll be at the taxpayer's expense. So, and the wire isn't worth that much.
So is there anything that this board could do to extract something from the cable company? A new contract or?
All the things I can think of would be illegal under federal law. But somewhere along the line, there has to be a happy medium to compensate the citizens of this and every other town for all the inconvenience they put up with, for the increased rates, for the just terrible service at times. You have all kinds of different things going on at the same time. A lot of these companies have old wire up. This town is one of them.
Yeah.
They would have to replace all the wire in town to bring it up to today's standard, or just about all the wire.
I think most of Ashland has that fiber optic.
Yeah.
Which will carry broadband.
It will carry it, but we have to get it here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they've been reluctant to do that without being paid for it. So the county is working on doing that, and I applaud them for that because at least they'll receive federal funds for it, and the taxpayers won't pay for the overall cost. We're still holding funds to work with the county on that.
So I don't think that, in my opinion, see how the board feels about it, but it doesn't sound like we should waste money hiring lawyers to gain zero. and spend money that's not gonna bring us any.
You've
any
got very little to
solutions.
gain. You may gain some things, but they'll be relatively small. You can't regulate the tier, you can't regulate what they show, you can't regulate what they charge, you can't regulate when they do just about anything that's under the federal license.
The only advantage with going with Plymouth, it would become a shared cost,
That's correct.
and that's it.
It would be 3 towns, Plymouth,
And they're all
Columbus,
losing
and
money,
Ashland.
the lawyers, in my opinion. You know. But, you know, it's on the agenda. You've heard all the information.
Maybe the best you can do is to just sit on it for 2 weeks,
We can do that.
give it some thought, talk to some people, get the idea of how people feel, because there are people who are rather worked up about the fact this
Well,
cable company's
I
not
don't
very
blame 'em.
responsible.
All our bills are going up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like Andy said, they've gone up at least twice this year.
And they'll go up again. One of the things we don't have, a really effective thing that we don't have, is they're supposed to notify the Board of Selectmen when the rates go up, or before they go up. I haven't seen any of those rate announcements. They just, it's like the town doesn't exist, they don't care.
And I'm sure we're not alone. I think
No.
all the small towns up here are probably suffering the same.
One of the things that I've noticed is I'm kind of stuck in one spot for a while, and I'm noticing the TV quits 3, 4, 5 times a day.
Easy, yeah, you're right.
You know, and they don't care.
I'll be watching something on TV and the screen just freezes up.
Yep, gone.
Well,
Yes, sir.
I seem to recall that we bill June 1st every year. So I just text Rob, and he said we have a lease agreement with both companies, and that may be the lease agreement Fred's talking about, which allows us to bill,
For the use of the utility
that we bill them once a year for that.
poles.
So we might want to just table it
Chicken
and,
feed.
Yeah.
and look into it, because Rob says we have a lease agreement with both cable and phone.
Yeah.
That could be that lease agreement that Fred has, so just before you, let's look into it. And I text Ann too, and she said she thinks she does bill them, but she can't remember, she's gonna find out. Gonna look into it.
We need to keep it deregulated under the state, because the state has taken away, or is in the process of taking away, our ability to tax tri-owned poles. After a pole's up for 30 years, it's not gonna be taxed by anybody. You currently receive a substantial amount of income from utility companies that have poles out on the street. At the end of 30 years, that's all going away. You're not gonna have any money from them. It's all gonna go in their coffers, because they're not gonna change their rates. At the same time, you're gonna have to make up for it from the property tax, because the legislature deregulated it 2 years ago.
So is it a tax or a fee?
In this case, we're talking about a real estate tax.
Okay.
Poles and appurtenances to poles and those sorts of things have always been taxed in this state. There has been an argument in the last 5 or 10 years that they should not be taxed. The legislature bought into that, and they put in a 30-year, I think it's a 30-year hiatus. Once a pole's been set, you can tax it fractionally for the first 30 years, and after that, you can't tax it for anything.
Wouldn't Ashland be in a different situation, owning the poles?
Well, once we own all the poles, we'd be in a different situation, because we can then charge the individual other utilities for use. As we're replacing these poles, we're replacing them with 100% town ownership. We're not asking for fees from anybody else. So if they want to stay attached to the poles, they're going to have to pay us a fee every year. And that fee will be made up by this board or the town meeting, one of the two.
Okay, well, I think that we're making some progress.
Well, they need to pay us something for all the work we go through.
Absolutely. We can't change the fee structure, but we certainly should get something for using our poles.
Well, certainly the taxes that are derived from those poles are going to go down to zero.
Those poles belong to the people of Ashland. They pay from their taxes, and now they're paying for the company who uses those poles to provide them with service.
Rob just
Let's look into it.
said it was upwards of $20,000 that they,
Wow.
between the two, that they pay us when he left. Now, whether that continued, I don't know.
That's really small change.
It's that drop in a bucket to those people, yeah. But it means something to us.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Any money we can get to decrease taxes is important to the town.
Well, should we table this and let, follow this up? We'll put
Yes.
that on the continuing items, so we keep track of it as we go along. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Craig.
Cool.
Next up is the request to change the contract for work already completed, and this has to do with the new roof on the booster building.
Yes. We are being charged a fee, supposedly. I think you were told the first time they sent you a bill, it was because they had to shovel a roof. They're
Yeah.
gonna send you a bill
Yes.
for
Well, they
that.
called me and said that.
We
And
got
then
an
they
email
sent
to
a-
that effect, too.
They sent a bill for having to strap the roof. That's a change to the contract, and there is a written contract for this work. There was no change order requested. I won't sign it because there is no change order. And the law doesn't allow them to just unilaterally change a contract and charge more money for it. So it's up to the board. I won't pay it unless you direct me to.
Craig, when you brought them down to give the estimate on the building,
Yep.
what did they say about scrap?
He told me he wouldn't have to strap that roof. Exactly, because I asked him right out.
We don't
Oh, no,
even
we
know.
don't have to do that, he said.
We don't even know if they scrapped that building.
Too late to find out now.
There's no-
And
yeah,
I
you
drove
can't.
by it a few times to watch what they were doing. I never saw a piece of strapping go down, but
That would be on the front side, maybe the back side's different.
maybe. So I don't know.
Could be.
Maybe.
Did anybody else have, nobody that I talked to saw a piece of strapping go down.
No.
Well, it's strange that the first time they tried to raise the money, they said it was for shoveling the roof off.
I think they're trying to get
And then they
compensated.
changed it from shoveling the roof off to strapping that we don't know exist.
But strapping would be $2,700.
No, I
No.
wouldn't think so.
That's
Shouldn't
what
be.
that's what the difference is, right?
Yes, that's
right.
right, yeah. Pretty fancy strapping.
Yes, it is.
Made out of gold.
Well, the nails must be.
So we need a motion on this, whether or not to pay this.
I'll make a motion that this gets thrown in the circular file, not pay it.
Okay, your motion is not to pay. Not to pay the bill, and do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Alan. And all those in favor say aye.
Can we?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I was gonna ask a question.
Oh,
Before
well,
we,
go ahead, ask the
just,
question.
just for information for the people that are out there. From the time of signing the contract till they actually showed up was how many months in? 8?
8 at least. Did we even sign a contract?
Yes, you did.
Yes.
And there was
Well-
50% put down when you
Right.
signed it. So they had the money for 8 months.
Right.
I met with him in the spring,
Right.
Springtime.
like this time.
I remember that.
So, I mean,
They told us they were gonna do it.
September.
Well, no, in August after my summer camp was done. And then it just kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed.
so just a general comment from me is, they put themselves in this position. And
Yeah. Not a good position.
At the end of the day, they had a contract. They didn't have a work order change.
No.
They can't charge you extra money without getting a change in the contract, and there was no changes made. We shouldn't pay it. And it's a significant amount of money.
thank you, I didn't mean to,
No, it's okay.
you
It's
know,
fine.
beat up on the subject, but
All right.
I think the townspeople kind of need to know.
So we had the aye votes. Was there any negative votes? Anybody say no? No, the motion passes unanimously.
I'm gonna just abstain. just because it's my department.
Okay, we'll note that Ann's abstained. Thank you, Ann. Okay, the next item on the list is the enacting no parking zone for the school district. This has to do with the requirement to do that. The school board has asked for it, and it's up there in the school zone, so,
It's a tad overdue,
yes, it is.
but even if it's overdue, we should be doing it. I did check with the chief today, and he said they don't have any problem with people parking there. That's not the issue. The
Right.
issue is that it's in an actual request to the selectmen, and it's also in the purchase and sale for the building itself, that we do this, and as opposed to just not doing it and forgetting it, I think it's probably just appropriate that we do something. And I've written out the ordinance in accordance with the provisions of the statute. Let's see, 41, 11, and 47, 17, Romans 7 and 8, so that we're covered by all the statutes. When it comes to cities and, when it comes to the Board of Selectmen and towns, they have the same authority as city councils for these sorts of actions. So I asked the chief, I said, does the $25 fine have any significance to you? He says, no, we're never going to issue one because nobody ever parks there. It's just something that in case you've got to enforce it, it's there.
It's there.
And I don't think we're going to have to enforce it because nobody parks there. They just stop to let the kids out to go to school. And that's what it's all about.
Is this the bottom?
This
Down
is
by
this-
the,
right in
wall.
right in front of the building.
Yeah.
Yep.
how is that gonna affect if the library goes in? Where are they gonna park?
That's a good question, but that's in the requirements for the purchase of the property.
It's in
It's in the
the
deed.
requirements of the
Deed.
purchase, yeah.
So, and this board can always repeal it if they want to. That's not an issue.
Right now,
Right now, it follows the requirements.
move things forward.
And hopefully, it'll never have to be enforced because nobody parks there.
I don't think it means that people can't park in the parking lot. It just means people can't park in front of the.
The old elementary school.
There'll be a sign there. There'll be a no parking
Yeah,
sign.
right, yep. Yes, because
Right,
in order to enforce this, there has
I
to
don't
be a
even know what
sign.
you're talking about.
Well, we'll let you know where it is.
It's by the railroad ties, the retaining wall,
Yes,
where all the parents pick up their kids.
Yep. Exactly.
We don't pick up the kids there.
A lot of parents pick up their kids right there. That walk home,
Oh, okay.
there's a lot of parents. I used to pick up my kids when they were little right there, because it's right at the walkway.
It's in front of the old school.
But down below,
Right,
on School Street,
right.
there's an old parking lot right
Right.
there that parents pull into to pick up their
Right.
kids.
Yep.
And you don't, Steve doesn't even know about it.
So if the person is in the car, are they actually parking or are they just standing?
The parents park in the car right there.
Yeah, but they're in it. They're not, the car's not parked and not occupied.
Right. They're in it. So I just want to, I don't
It's a
know.
technicality.
Well, I mean, I think the parents should be able to pick their kids up. It's a safe place to pick up
Yep.
kids that walk, so
Right.
you might want to, I don't even know where it came from. First I've heard about it.
It's
It's a two,
And Steve's on the school board, he never heard about it.
It's in the deed transferring the property.
Oh, so it's
Yes.
part of the old school?
yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Oh, so it's
Yep.
nothing to do with the current school?
No,
No.
we did some research and found out that
Oh.
it was put in there and nothing ever happened. Nobody ever did it. So
Okay.
we're just doing it to show good faith and to honor what the school board did. So that may change. Who knows? Somebody may change it because the school board may wish it to be changed. But right now, that's what they wanted and that's what's in the deed. So.
I've gotten pretty confused. Who is the "they" who want this no parking? If it's not the school committee,
It's the school board, school committee. It's in the deed transferring the property that was approved by the school board and the school meeting.
okay.
At the time
When
of
it
the
went to-
sale of the building.
That's
A
correct.
long
when it
time.
went to TRICAT,
10 years ago.
I don't
11,
Well,
actually.
your
Not the current
statute of
board.
limitations.
I don't think the deed was approved by the school meeting. They authorized the school board to negotiate it.
Well, that is the approval of the school meeting.
Wow.
You need that to have the board be able to sell the property.
Okay,
So-
yeah, but,
And it was put in the deed, so it's
Yeah, I
there,
know
so
it's
we're
there.
just doing the technicality. It wasn't done.
And without this, we can't, if it ever came to pass, we couldn't approve the sale. It has to be done.
Well, we're just clearing the decks. We're doing the things we were supposed to do a number of years ago,
Right.
so. It's fun.
All right, so,
Do we need
any other questions from the board? So do I have a motion? Well,
Yeah.
I will make the motion, it makes everybody happy,
Thank you.
to enact the restricted parking zone on School Street under section 47, chapter 41, section 11, and chapter 47, section 17, Roman 7 and 8. Authorizing the school board, the Board of Selectmen to regulate public ways.
I'll second.
Any further questions? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None opposed, passing unanimously. And
I'll start this around,
then we'll have to sign off on it.
always.
is it, excuse me, if I remember the deed. there's a
Over here.
time- I'm sorry. I've
There are
been-
times.
Okay, it's in
It's
the.
in it, it's in it.
the
Yeah.
ordinance?
Yeah.
The,
Okay.
the hours are 6 AM each day to 6 PM. So student school
Every day
hours.
of the week?
Yep.
Yeah, they're school days.
They didn't make a
days.
differentiation. I put school
doesn't-
days, but they didn't make that differentiation very clearly.
Okay, but it is, this ordinance is for those hours on school days?
That's correct.
Okay.
Said area shall be used as a drop-off area for school children being dropped off or picked up. So they're allowed to be picked up and dropped off in that area. You can't park there. So it allows you to pick up and drop off. Oh, the next one is a signature on the form to be recorded for the work on the Class 6 road. We've already done this I think at the last meeting, but now we have to sign off on that paperwork.
So it can be recorded with the deed when
So,
we,
yeah, so it can be recorded.
you've already passed it, so I don't think you need to do that again.
No.
Oh, goodness.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next item on the agenda is the question on a public hearing to amend the transfer station regulations. Actually, I'm sure you've read the information in your packet, but for the public's knowledge, the action has already taken place and has been in place for several years, but the requirement to have a public hearing was never held. So all we're doing is now trying to put the blessing on it, so it'll be a legal document. So we're gonna have a public hearing on it. And Fred, the question is that can public hearing occur during a selectmen's meeting?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
I certainly
So
can.
what we're doing is making notice tonight. How many times do we have to do it before?
It only requires one notice of publication.
Okay,
And the reason I'm suggesting that there was a lot of work that went into this.
right.
There's a significant amount of work, and the board went through all that work. It's just at the last meeting, they forgot to hold a public hearing. So they passed it, it's been in operation. I just don't want to see it challenged,
Correct.
because it doesn't make a lot of sense to go back and have to do all of this again.
Right.
It's all here, and it'll all be introduced at the public hearing. And it seems to comply with, nobody seems to be complaining about it, so it's in effect, and we're doing it. It's just we need to legally do it.
Correct.
Because town meeting voted to require a public hearing in the original organizational structure of the transfer station. So that was my request to bring it forward and do a public
We don't need to
hearing.
vote on this, you need to know about it, we're putting a public hearing today,
Well-
we're announcing there's gonna be a public hearing. You have to post
Certainly
it,
the board
you have to
needs-
post it someplace too, right?
The board needs, well, yeah, we need to post it, we need to advertise it.
Right.
And people need to be able to see the proposed regulations, and we will post those too. So,
We'll put it on our website also?
yeah. Absolutely. Time and perseverance. Mr. Chair, I have a couple of other things here that are,
Whole business, right?
well, actually, it's new business.
Oh, that's fine, we'll just stay under new business.
And the fire chief has something that came up today, which I think is a great value to the community. And we have the money to purchase it from the capital reserve fund. And I'd ask him to sort of give you a brief on what this is.
Late last week, Friday, I became aware that there is it's a power cot for an ambulance, a Stryker power cot, that is available, it's being made available by the Barnstead Fire Department. They're replacing it with a newer thing, or they're taking an ambulance out of service. And these things, at this time, this was brand new, it cost.
13,000.
Yep,
I'm
13.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
About 13,000, and now they probably go for about 16 to 18,000 a piece. My interest in this is that currently we have a Stryker, but it's a manually operated, and a power cot reduces the risk to the patient significantly and to the personnel that are doing the lifting. And we have an opportunity to get this, and we do have the funds in the, I'm not sure the official name of the account, but it's the ambulance, it's where the ambulance transport fees go into for the purpose of ambulance replacement and or purchasing medical equipment. And I believe this would fall into that category. And what I'm asking for is permission to use $3,500 from that fund for the purchase of that.
Have you gone down and looked at it and seen it? or-
We had one person that went in and checked it, and we
Okay.
talked to the people down there, and they, it's in working shape, and it comes, with the batteries and a charger, and it's a big step forward for us. And we currently have a Stryker so that the hardware in the ambulance to secure the cot is the same as would be required for that, with perhaps some adjustment. But I think it's a significant improvement over what we're doing now. And I just I was concerned that this thing would disappear quickly. And so we made some phone calls today, and they're willing to bring it up tomorrow.
Oh, well,
But anyway, so that's what I'm asking for.
strike while the iron is hot.
Or whatever.
Okay.
I'll
You've
make
heard.
a motion to
Thank you,
the
Chief.
chief.
Thank you,
use-
Ann.
Take the 3,500 out for our Stryker.
I'll second it.
Do we need to have that written in, that amendment for a certain account, or is that amendment, that motion okay?
I think his description's adequate because there's only one account we can take it out of.
Okay. All right, so you've read the motion and the second. Is there any further questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
The other thing I have.
Chief, for doing that.
Thank you.
The other thing I have, Mr. Chairman, is I have a request to name the week of May 1 through May 7th Municipal Clerk Week. It's something that's done across the state in remembrance of our municipal clerks. As you know, ours has been out on medical leave and just finished surgery recently, so she's not back yet, but she will be soon. This should be done annually. I think most towns do it annually. I've seen most of the other towns around do it, so it's sort of a thank you. We also have 2 or 3. We have an assistant clerk and we have a deputy clerk, and they're all out training to try to help us out to do things extra. So this would be a nice thank you to them as well, to designate Municipal Clerk Week. And with your permission, I would suggest that.
Let's see is it the proclamation?
It's a
we'll make it?
proclamation.
Okay, let me have that and see if we can structure it.
It's structured specifically for this town.
Right. So the motion would be to, if somebody wants to make the motion, to approve the proclamation for the 53rd Annual Professional Multiple Clerks Week. And the time frame would be May 1st to May 7th, 2022. All that without my glasses.
Good show.
Maybe there's a barbecue.
Well, also, well, I'm not going to talk about it here. Go ahead. So who wants to make the motion?
If you hand me the paper
Oh, you-
so I can say the words, I will make the motion. I make a motion to accept the proclamation for the 53rd Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week for May 1st to May 7th.
Second.
Second by,
Either one of us. It's fine.
who's seconding it? Ann? Ann, second by Ann Bonny. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? None opposed. Motion passes unanimously. I was just going to mention that, as you noticed, I brought into the board members a picture of the old man in the mountains, and this will be the anniversary of his falling down tomorrow. So I thought it would be appropriate. I had these pictures made several years ago. I was going to make postcards out of them, but just never got around to it.
You want us to sign
Oh,
this,
please, yes. And we'll make sure it gets posted appropriately.
So we never always want to remember the old man.
Enjoyable climb.
right? This came with it, but that's not
Oh.
part of it.
Okay.
Do you have any other new business?
Just that I hope the selectmen, this was done the day I was out, but I hope the selectmen get a copy of this. This is April 30th from the State of New Hampshire Liquor Commission, and they are proposing a notice to municipalities under the statute that the White Mountain Country Club has requested a sports recreation facility liquor license, just so you know what's going on. It's pretty standard. There's nothing unusual about this. They have requested that the board look at it, and I will make sure you get copies of it. I don't know that you have received any copies, so you can't act on it unless you do, because it does require signature by the Board of Selectmen. So I think you need to read it before you decide to vote and sign it.
Okay.
So, just so you know what you're voting and signing.
Is this something that's coming up at next meeting?
That would be the next meeting, yes.
Okay.
It's not time sensitive, we can wait till the next meeting.
I don't think it's time sensitive. There's nothing on it that says it's time sensitive, so. Thank you. That's it, Mr. Chairman. That's
Okay.
enough?
Selectmen's items. Anybody got anything they'd like to bring up?
Okay.
I will bring something up. We have 2 new town employees. They're working for, one of them is a utility clerk. They're going to be working down at over here at 6 Collins Street. Her name's Melissa Howard, and she's been in training for about a week now. And it looks like she's moving quite rapidly. She's got a good resume. Also to have a new finance assistant person. Luan McAndrews, and she started today. And she's in the process of being trained, so we're ramping up our efforts to get the town hall and utility billing and so forth up to date, up to speed. And it's been a long haul. It's been hard to hire people, as you all know. Also, our new electric superintendent started work today, Mr. Peter Gallion. And that'll give Craig a break, I think.
Yes,
Thank you, Craig, for
that was glad.
almost 2 years of
Yeah.
running two of the, that was just an amazing job you did and being able to do it. Thank you for that. So with that, as you can see, the other things that are coming up is we will have a public hearing on the 23rd of May concerning the sale of St. Agnes Church. There is discussions being talked about long-term solid waste. We may have some issues in the future.
That will be held in the school cafeteria.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's going to be held in the school cafeteria, by the way, yes. And of course, the library purchase is still on the agenda, still things have to be done there. So with that, we don't have any, you don't have any non-public stuff today?
No, sir.
Oh, wonderful, that's great. Everybody be able to go home early tonight.
Am I allowed to ask questions or make a comment before you adjourn? I'm Sky Bar.
Have you brought something to the board?
No, we tried to, my wife and I tried to get on the agenda, but I think your clerk is out or something. I just wanted to let y'all know, I am the person who just purchased the hydro site down on the little pond there, the last one
Okay.
in the row. Yeah, the Golden Pond Hydro. So just wanted to introduce myself
Oh,
and,
good.
you know, ask basically what I should do next in terms of who I should talk to about what's up with it. I don't really have a big agenda. I'm not like, I don't have, you know, when are we gonna get a purchase contract or something? Just what direction should I head in? Who should I be talking to, if that's you guys or the electrical department or, yeah, just wanna feel things out.
Well, you're not going to be wielding power into the grid, right?
Right.
So anything you do down there will require a building permit. And other than that, it's just normal business.
I mean, it's something I would like to look into, wheeling into the grid. I mean, if, I'm not gonna like raise a stink about it if there's no interest in the board's part of that.
Again, we need a lot of information before we talk about any of that.
Yeah, but that's the thing is I don't know if is the select board who I would go to?
Well, you could come to the
Yeah.
town hall and speak to the town manager, and then the select board would make whatever requirements necessary.
Yeah.
So we would do it in a process.
Yep. Well, I didn't know.
We don't have anything in front of us to look at, you know.
Nope, I just wanted to make sure that I was even headed in the right direction. I didn't know
I
if
think,
electrical department handled all
yeah,
of
when
that or
Rob was
something.
here, he would meet with those people.
Yeah,
So
that's
Peter, probably the new superintendent would meet with you first, and then he would bring things to the select board
I think I don't want to waste anyone's
along
time
with
by
you. Yep.
talking to the, you know,
It
these
might
are the wrong
waste, because they
commitment.
won't understand it as much as Peter will, and then he can,
Okay.
you know what I mean, he can,
That was Peter Gallion?
yeah.
Okay,
Remember, he just started today, he's got a lot on his plate.
Yeah, he just started, so give him
Couple of
a
things on his calendar.
do you have his contact info? I can
Well,
grab
I don't
the
have it
after, or-
even.
No, come down to the town hall, we'll get you straightened out, we'll get you.
Can I let him know? Just call the electric department.
Okay.
They can give you his
Yeah, so if you
extension.
look on the website, 3083, I think it is 968-3083. I think
Yep,
is the number.
that's the number.
They'll
Start
put you in
there.
contact, yep.
Okay, that's
Yep,
all I'm
and then
looking
just meet
for,
with
yeah.
him. He'll want to go down, look at it, see what you want to do, how it
Yep.
operates, and
Yep.
there'll be some regulations.
I mean, frankly, that's not what we heard about the sale, is it?
Well,
It doesn't matter.
it don't
I
make any
don't.
difference.
No. So we don't know anything about it.
I don't know anything about it. I have to feel it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's all at the owner's discretion to decide what they would like to do
Right.
and when they would like to do it.
Right.
Right.
And then propose what they would like to do and see whether or not it fits the criteria.
And that's the process.
That's the process.
Yep.
Pretty simple,
Yep,
but
straightforward.
sometimes lengthy.
I had one more. Ooh, somebody else.
I
Go ahead.
had a question. Is there a way to get?
What is your question about?
It's about the library, which
Oh.
is on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda, it's just a continuing item. We're not bringing it up. That's, there's nothing I can tell you about it. We're moving forward as much as we can on it, and the process is underway. That's all I can tell you. Okay, is there anything else?
Yeah, I had a question, that something Craig brought up to me about the department heads and spending. I'm under the assumption when we did the $1,500, that was not per month that we could okay, that it was per purchase item.
You need a purchase order regardless of what you're doing,
But,
so we know where to put it.
okay, but you could spend over $1,500 a month.
That's the decision of this board, not me.
I thought that's
No,
what it
per-
was.
Per
Okay.
e-cards and
No,
shit.
per
Because
person.
I just had to borrow her card to buy something for her, because mine's still at the limit, I think.
There's a limit on the cards.
Right, that's what I'm getting at.
You
Yes.
you can't put the national debt on it. You have to.
No, I know, right. So I have to buy something for Ann, fertilizer, and I usually do it on my card, just so so I had to take her card to do it, because mine's, as Marissa knows. But I
A lot
thought
more
we-
fertilizer than you planned on, so you
No,
didn't
no,
have
I
enough for
can't
her.
put it on my card. I have to use hers, which probably isn't a good thing that I got her card, but.
Well,
So the question is,
we'll audit that.
So
can we
what
make,
is the limit?
yeah, can
per
we make
month?
it per purchase instead of per month?
I thought it was supposed to be per purchase.
Yes,
The limit of your credit card's just $1,500 per month.
Yeah,
So that can be changed, but that was what the cards used to be, so that's why we had gone with that.
Right,
when
but
we
I thought,
did the initial, we all thought it was different. Do you
Yeah.
remember that,
So
Ed?
is this a one-time problem or a continuing issue?
Well, if I buy something for $900 at the beginning of the month, then pretty much I can't use the card for the rest of the month.
And-
I seem to buy everything for every department, so
Pretty
it
accurate.
just puts me in a hard spot. And then I got my guys using their own credit cards
Oh, no, jeez.
No,
and getting reimbursed.
no,
No,
Well, they're doing that right now.
no, well, they shouldn't be.
and for like summer camp, we go on weekly trips.
So it's gonna cause a
It's gonna go
problem.
over 1,500
okay,
in the
so
first 3 trips.
what we need to do is we need to figure out what this is, and then adjust the card limits accordingly.
you could still have a $1,500 limit and a $5,000 card.
Right, that's it. I'm okay with the $1,500,
Per
but I wanna
owner,
be able
yeah.
to make another one at
Right.
Not that I'm
200.
going for a $5,000 card, but I'm
Well,
saying.
So the way that system is set up is we have access to $10,000 a month across whoever has
Okay.
cards, but their
Oh.
cards are set at individual limits of 1,500.
Okay.
So we
Per
have
purchase.
the ability per card for the month.
Oh,
Right.
really?
So
Okay.
we can up those,
Yeah.
and that's fine. We have access to 10 grand per month.
That's why I was just gonna turn. to
Yeah.
So in Ann's
All right.
situation, when she gets into her summer program, she needs to
She
have
probably needs to have a higher limit.
a higher limit,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And apparently Craig does too,
Yeah.
because he buys
Yeah.
everybody's
Yeah,
stuff.
oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
Which you shouldn't be doing.
he really does.
And Craig, please don't let your guys use their personal cards. Greg,
What's that?
please don't let your guys use their personal cards.
Well, we do.
Yeah, well, don't.
I mean,
Please.
we do. I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
they
it
get
complicates things.
reimbursed pretty quickly.
Can complicate things for the finance people.
Well, we have a form for that,
Okay.
We do. We pay him immediately, so.
so it
We have a
works.
form for everything.
We get a form for everything.
Right, even things you don't need a form for, we have a form for that.
But, doing an audit and seeing personal credit cards buying town stuff can raise
No.
flags, cause
No.
problems.
That could cause some real problems.
Yeah, we don't need to have that, So if something comes up that you need to have, it's better to be able to get on and see Marissa and get that thing up somehow.
Yeah, but I
And
just-
so it's a town
I don't know if
purchase.
she needs this authorization from you guys.
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah.
That's why you're the.
I didn't want to hear that. Oof. Wow, this is one of those things I didn't expect tonight.
She just needs to increase it to what you need. You can't sign for it, only I can sign for it, so, because that's the law in the state. So you need to get the information to her as to what you need, and then we can get it adjusted.
Well, no, I mean, I might buy something that's $500 at the beginning of the month, but I can't, like right now, my card's maxed out.
Well, it shouldn't
Well,
be. Did
It
you
might
just
be
buy
now.
something now?
Now I
We're on the
probably can
cusp of the
because
month.
we're at the beginning of the month, but
Well,
it was just,
It's that trip to the Caribbean that you were hoping for.
Right.
Yeah.
but I can see where it's gonna cause Ann problems, because right now I'm gonna put $1,000 on her card to buy fertilizer, and she won't be able to use it again for the rest of the month if she's getting ready for Park and Rec, you know?
Well, you shouldn't be doing that.
Well, we have to do it.
No, you don't have to do it. You can ask to have it changed, is my
Well,
point.
that's what I'm doing. Right.
You don't do it and then ask after later on to have it changed, because that doesn't help us at all.
Oh, no, I didn't realize it was like that. So
So-
Marissa didn't set this up, it was set up by Catherine Davis.
Yep,
And I was under the impression, along with Ann, that we had $1,500 per purchase. And once a payment was made, it came off the end and we could make another purchase.
Yeah, unlike your other credit cards where we could like in the middle of the month pay it so it relieved it, we don't have the option with the new ones.
So we didn't know that, none of us knew it. These are fairly new cards.
But
so-
we can change limits should the board want to do that.
I think that, and with Craig being in charge of the road committee, or the road, public works in town, he buys some pretty expensive stuff. And somebody runs into a hydrant, he's gotta replace it. You're not gonna get that for
Well,
$1,500,
That's not the same thing.
Yeah,
it's
well,
not
you know.
safe.
There's accounts.
Water department will replace it.
That's water.
Okay, well, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
It's,
yes.
it could be
Something
like-
happens and,
I can give you for instance, the alternator on the sidewalk plow could be $900 from HB Fairfield. But I bought one last year for $300 online, the same exact model. They just upped the charge. So this is where the credit cards come in really handy for us. We
Right. But
search for parts.
if I may, I think the difference here is credit cards are being used for vendors that we don't really have accounts with.
That's correct.
Okay? I think we need to clarify that a little bit.
That's right.
Probably, if we do that on a regular basis, we need to establish accounts with those creditors.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
but I mean, it might be a one-time thing or a two-time thing.
It might be,
But it's
right.
not going to be something different from the vendors that we deal with, that we are dealing with on a monthly basis.
well, those vendors are, we just bill them, they bill us.
That's right,
That's right.
there's no credit
And
card
that's
involved
fine.
is what I'm coming at.
And the bills are paid on time
That's
by
right.
the finance director.
Right.
So, the credit card is for, like you said, for other items. But when you go on those trips, that's what you have to use, because you don't have accounts with those people.
Right.
So, that needs to be corrected before that season starts.
Yeah.
Well, you get that all together, and the board will take it up and
Exactly.
approve it for you. And same with you, Craig.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really a problem except for springtime when I,
The fire department have any issues like this? Okay.
No, like Mr. Silly said, we establish accounts with the people we do business with
Right.
on a consistent basis. We do on occasion use the card, but not, the limit has not posed a problem
Right.
for us.
I don't think it's a problem with most departments, but
It's
things with like me.
primarily you guys
Yeah,
that
it's
have
probably
issues.
just me and Ian. I did talk about getting what may be easier is to get my town mechanica card, and then we'll have two accounts that we can use each card for. That might be an easier for me, but it won't solve Ann's problems.
So is this something you can do at your weekly directors meeting?
Well,
You know,
as
discuss
long
it.
as people bring it up, we can get it done.
Okay.
Right?
Well, that may be a good
We
idea when you
need
have
to
your,
know.
you're right there at the town hall, you're in the office, you take care of this business and you
Yeah,
bring
this
it
is the
before the
first
board.
time it happened was this month.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, yeah, but it could happen again, so let's fix it.
And it just happened to be you were purchasing manure, did you say?
Fertilizer. It doubled in price, so.
Spreading it all over town.
When you buy a lot of that fertilizer, you have to file an ETA form?
We didn't last year.
Depends on what type it is. Oh dear.
Okay. All right, hopefully that's it, and I'll hear a motion to adjourn. Somebody?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second.
There's always two king people here.
Motion has been made and second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.